something to look.
All right. The time is now 6:30, so we will open up this select board meeting as per usual with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And for a roll call, Dave Hemingway, Chair of the Select Board.
Usually, select person.
And Marla O'Hara is unable to make it with us tonight as she is enjoying a much nicer place at the moment on vacation. That will move us towards the meeting rules and procedures. We stopped doing this for a while, but we brought it back. So we tend to try to run this like a classroom, so please just raise your hand and don't talk over each other and keep it as simple as possible. For announcements, May is Water Safety Month. So we are pleased to have we are very blessed to have wonderful rivers here in town, such as they had the kayak races on recently, and even river beaches such as Pearson Park across the street, and various kayak launches and other bodies of water. It's important to know that these are not always safe to use though, depending on whether they're shallow and you're attempting to jump into them, or whether they're much deeper and stronger current flow, or whether the flow is changing suddenly. So make sure you understand these before hopping in, as warmer weather in the summer will soon start calling us into them. Speaking of the warmer weather, the weather continues to get nicer, and so if you have a fire pit, make sure you've gotten your permit from the fire department. They are available to hand them out during their Wednesday evening meetings. And the last one that I have is there is a request for proposals for town hall work on the website. This includes fixing, replacing, etc., however is appropriate. The back stairs and the back door of the hall here, as well as moisture determinations for paint issues that have shown up in the building. Please see the website and or contact our town administrator for more information on that. Do we have further announcements?
I just have a very quick announcement, which is something you all know. May 16th is you're going to be having a meeting on at 1 p.m., which will be to review non-public minutes, which will be non-public, of course. Mm-hmm. After which we have scheduled a meeting with our IT consultant. I will be talking with departments before then to kind of get their input on it. I know you've given me input, mm-hmm. and we have some things to do. So that is coming up on the 16th, which is a Thursday, week from this Thursday.
Okay, any further announcements?
Grapevine will be out in a couple days.
All right. The grapevine is coming. Okay, so barring further announcements, are there announcements from either of the chiefs?
No, I'm quiet. Good for the moment.
All right, so that moves us on to our first appointment, Rory Murphy, and a temporary occupancy permit.
Yep.
So come on down. And let me see if I remember, is this is, you've been cutting your own wood and stuff to prepare for building through the winter?
Yeah, I've been working through the winter on that, and it just wound up, the guy with the best price to do my septic design said he could be there middle of June, so that's kind of where I'm at. That's all I'm waiting for getting a building permit, so I'd like to just extend through then so I can get the building permit and move forward.
How is just to clarify our process for building permits, does all of that need to be finalized and approved before submitting, or just
So you
before
need to have
approval?
all the documents to be able to apply for it, so we would need the septic plan.
Okay, so it's the plan, but not necessarily an approval from the state yet?
Doesn't need the
Septic.
approval from the state,
Okay,
we just need the plan.
perfect. Let's see, so that's, you said June?
Yeah, he told me middle of June, so he was just gonna look at the weather before he circles in on the date.
And so roughly, when are you expecting to do construction and similar, if that happens?
I'd like to probably by August, I'd like to have concrete in the ground and be moving forward so I can start timber framing and stuff over the winter.
Okay.
That's my plan.
Now, where's this property? I'm sorry.
It's on White Plains Road.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if you're going up, just past Little Hill, it's
Yeah.
the one on the right, just as you're going down the hill.
Oh, okay. Okay, where they have down, it's like, goes down?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
If I remember right, we did it for 6 months.
Correct.
And with the other person that did similar, we extended by 6 months.
Correct.
So that would seem like a reasonable way to do it again. When did this one expire or is about to
It's already
expire?
expired.
I think it was on the
Expired.
first. I got the thing in the mail
Yeah, so it's-
on Saturday.
So
And
this is
so
the
this
first,
month.
yeah, this is the first
Okay.
meeting since then.
So let's see, May, June, July, August, September, October.
That
So,
seems pretty reasonable.
so that would seem
Yeah,
reasonable
that's
to be
good.
through October?
Yeah, that's good.
should be more than sufficient. Should be perfect.
I'm sure he
Okay.
wants it done as quickly as possible,
I'm,
too.
I'm in a hurry, yes.
I don't blame you.
Okay, is there anything particular we need to do? Just a motion, or do we,
Yeah,
or
just
is
a
it a
motion
signature?
would be good.
Okay. So I would move that we extend this temporary occupancy permit through October, at such time we expect that there will be a house there.
Okay,
Or at least being built.
I'll be working on an active permit by then, at the very
Yes.
least.
okay, second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, that was easy, thank you.
Easy is what we like. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, that moves us on to department heads, so on down, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Yeah, good seeing
Yeah,
you.
At least the sun's shining.
Go ahead, my friend.
Somehow I knew you were gonna say that. So, my budget. As of the last report on 4/25, we spent $107,568.61 out of our 24 budget. We have 67.33% remaining, which gives us plenty of money. For calls for the month, 55 motor vehicle stops, 8 summonses with fines totaling $1,314.40, with 2 arrests. 53 calls for service, and I don't think you want me to read through all of them again, because they're all pretty much the same. But we had a number of calls for citizens assist, quite a few, and a number of calls for animal complaints where we had some horses picked up by the SPCA.
Horses?
Yeah, we took 4 of them because they were in such bad shape.
Oh, my God.
So, but it looks good right now. The other horses that are on the property are in good shape, and the state vet's been up and looked at them. But that's about it for us.
I know we had been in process of, I believe, both a part-time and a full-time hire work. I know the full-time was still kind of waiting for things to finalize.
So I spoke to him
How-
2
how
hours
both?
ago,
Perfect.
and he's gone to the retirement board because he wants to see where he stands for he's still got 18 months before he could be eligible to retire because he's not old enough. But he wants to see where he stands money-wise, because where he's working right now, he makes a lot more money than we pay him. Matter of fact, he made $125,000 last year,
Wow.
and we're looking at $65,000. But he's young enough and he lives close enough, he would make a great full-time guy. He's got 22 years on board, smart, there ain't nothing the guy can't do. So he would make a great guy down the road to take over when we decide it's time for us to leave. And that's what I'm hoping for, because he would make a real good chief. There's no doubt in my mind he would do okay. I think everybody'd like him, I know you would.
I can't get along with calls, so.
You've done all right so far. And we got the background all done on the girl. We're just waiting for her to come in and finalize everything, and we should be good to go.
Awesome. Congratulations.
I'm
Thanks.
hoping, man, I hope so, it'll be good.
All right. Where do you wanna go first?
Let's do the firehouse. We're at 105 calls. A lot of them have been medical calls, a few wire down. We went to Loudon. They had a second alarm structure fire there the other Friday night, a week ago Friday night with brush, so we went over with a forestry truck. Our Wednesday night stuff's going good, having a lot of turnout. Getting a lot of stuff done. We got a lot more hose pressurized, pressure tested. The other Sunday, a crew got together and came down. We do have a little bit more to do. I do have something to, ask you folks, and I've talked this over with the police chief and Phil. The last two snowstorms that we had were pretty rough going. I don't have a plow truck that doesn't have a broken mirror or an antenna missing or strobe lights and stuff, and I got thinking, you guys are gonna sell that police cruiser that the police department has for roughly $2,500.
Hopefully.
The radio's all in it, the siren's all in it, and would have to change a few lights, and it would make us a good beater car around town during a storm. Them fire trucks now are up to $800,000-900,000, and anything that says fire truck on it, it's money. And I think that would be, I'd like to see that happen. I've talked it over with the officers at the firehouse. They're all in agreements of that, and with you guys' blessing. It's not gonna cost the town transmission, something goes major and it's gonna cost a lot, we'll junk it.
Car goes. Make a good utility vehicle
I
for
was gonna say, is this
quick
basically
runs.
just so like you can have somebody without the forestry truck running around to like chainsaw stuff and move things?
Well,
out
the
road,
forestry
or what?
truck would be out and about as well, but this just keeps the fire truck up.
The same thing,
Yeah,
just without
pretty
having a
much.
fire truck.
Yeah, and then if
All-wheel
you,
drive.
if
which
you have
makes
a
it nice.
meeting, I mean, we all go to trainings and meetings and stuff at night, and, I mean, if somebody wanted to take that to a training, I mean,
No paying mileage.
well, we don't pay mileage now, but it would,
So, there would have to be some costs, because we'd have to, for example, replace lights, replace badging, that sort of thing.
I
But
think
that probably shouldn't be too much.
no,
we
but,
could strip what's on there, and I'm sure somebody knows how to paint. You could paint it a one solid color or whatever, and just put a town seal badge on it.
yeah, or just take
Just
off
a-
the police and put fire
Fire.
on there, cause you can
Yeah.
get them decals made, you can peel them off and
Put it on the
and
right
put
next
them
place.
on, and then there's a guy in Loudon that, I mean, he daubs in all them red lights and blue lights, and he outfits fire trucks and police cars, and he's got a bunch of that used stuff kicking around, and
And we've got a ton of it, all you do is replace the color of the
the
lenses.
color of the lenses, the lights are all there, just gotta change the
Everything's
lenses.
there.
Okay, so it's just lens color, it's not changing the LED color.
No,
You just
no,
change
it's
the
just a
lens
lens,
color.
right?
Okay.
Yep,
Pretty sure, unless I misunderstood.
almost all of them, just change the lenses.
Yeah.
Um,
And then the flashing
ones we
white
get-
lights, we can leave.
leave the one, and we have red, flashing red lights on it already. But we have plenty of lights upstairs that, all you do is get red covers for them.
Yeah. And, the radio, it's $100 to have it programmed to change it. We'll still leave the stuff in there, but it's just, now it's set up for the police in the beginning, and the fire would be in the beginning, and it's, I think it's $100. They come out and plug a computer into it, hit a program into it, so it wouldn't really cost a whole lot to get it.
Would it be necessary to have it re-registered?
Well, we'd have to do
Yeah.
that because you're gonna put them plates on those.
Registration's free.
Free, right.
Because the ones we have.
I'm not
on it-
worried about that, but
Yeah.
don't you have municipal police
Yeah.
We have
plates?
municipal police, you'd have
Yeah.
to put, they
Yeah.
put a GO plate on it,
Yeah.
government plate
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
fire department.
Yeah,
Cause you're gonna take them plates off and put on your new car.
Yep, that'll go in the new car.
So who's gonna use the car? Is it just like anybody or,
Well, anybody, if, during a storm, it could be anybody that's a
Right.
member of the firehouse.
Running for parts.
How would that affect insurance?
it would be very insignificant,
Yeah.
We have fleet policy, right?
yeah, yeah.
Especially taking it off from being a cruiser onto that, because there'd be no.
The town of
almost
Hopkinton,
no
yeah.
mileage on it.
Yeah.
The town of Hopkinton last storm, they were chasing wires and their new truck, they just paid $700,000 for their E1. They airborned a tree that came down in front of them and it cleaned off the valves and it did a
oh,
lot.
what a mess.
It did a lot of damage.
We used it during storms so that if they got totaled, we didn't lose anything really.
Yeah, I really like the idea. The couple concerns that I have are, it was to be traded in because we weren't confident that it would continue to run.
Well, it was gonna be, we were gonna sell it outright. They don't take, where we bought the
Yeah.
new car, they don't
Oh,
take
okay.
trades.
But I see your point, Dave,
And-
but
And
this,
the second is, if we start doing this and if it makes sense to have the vehicle and it becomes, well, it doesn't run, we can say that, yes, we'd like to, well, we're just gonna get rid of it because it doesn't work anymore. It's no lost investment, which is true. But there would also then be somewhat of an expectation that we would probably try to replace it with something similar.
well, when they got rid of another
So,
vehicle.
Get rid of another car.
The Bosquen just did the same thing. Tim Kenny, he's the fire chief down there, and they gave him the old cruiser, and he has that sitting in his dooryard. He responds to all the calls with that car.
Franklin Highway has old police cars and the Franklin Fire Department has one of their old police cars.
So it's just something that I just figured that it isn't gonna hurt to ask.
I think it's a good idea. I think we should make sure that we have any information we can for things like insurances and then let the whole board make a decision. But I think it's a really good idea. Thank you for bringing that to
And
us.
we'll be willing to do most of the work on it. I mean, we can.
No, we can
Yeah,
too,
we can
and,
do it.
yeah, we can do a lot, but, and that will save Phil stripping it, and then putting all the stuff upstairs and tripping over it forever.
Is this
The only
the
would take out was the-
2016?
We'll take the cage out, because the cage will go in the new car,
Good.
just buy a kit, because you don't need that
We don't
anyway.
need a cage.
Well, you might need it. Is it a 2016, is that the one we're talking about?
2016.
Okay.
You know, and if it works out, they get a new cruiser in a couple of years, and
It'll
maybe
be
we can
2 years anyway. before we
work
need it.
on getting something to update.
So something we touched on, just I'll ask you. I remember that we had been waiting on decals and stuff for some of the police vehicles.
Yep.
Has that been taken care of? And if
Yep,
not,
waiting
when?
for it to come in. As soon as we get the other car's gonna be decaled, so they'll have two identical ones.
Okay.
Why do you want a decal?
It's good to have a decal on it. Yeah, so we'll have two fully decaled ones. Yeah, it's a good idea. So they know who we are. It's funny, cause, everybody in town waves to me before I get to them, and there's no markings on my car. They know it's a cruiser and who's driving it. Way before I get to them.
It's like me knocking on the door the other night. We had a propane leak in town, and I'm knocking on the doors before I go around the houses to let them know what was going on, and the woman had the camera, and she wouldn't come to the door, but she called the police, but the police were working with us, so.
Yeah, identification is good.
Yeah.
In this day and age, you gotta be safe than sorry, boy. These people are just,
All
I don't
right.
know.
So, The new fire truck, I do have some pictures of the cab and chassis, and it's supposed to be, I got an email from Craig a week ago Sunday, and the truck was going in production line, so
Oh, awesome.
it's, hasn't been forgotten. And the trailer, we brought that in last Wednesday night, that's backed into the bay and drying out from the humidity and stuff. We're gonna paint the inside of it, so it will sweep up and keep it cleaner. So we're working on that. The air compressor that fills the bottles, the MSA bottles, the other night was running, and they just filled a bunch of bottles when we left. The next day, that night, we had a leak in a valve in the tanker, so I called to have them folks come out to fix that, Perkins Pump. And when they got there, that air compressor was still running, it had run all night. Something had gone bad in it, so they had unplugged it. And so we have to figure out what's going on with that, but
It's a miracle it didn't start on fire.
very much, it was hot,
Oh, boy,
it stunk.
Smell.
It got hot. So luckily, everything happens for a reason, because I go there on Monday mornings, but not every day. And so luckily they came out to work on the truck, and the guy went up, he knew something was the matter and unplugged it and called me on the phone, and so we'll check that out this Wednesday night, we'll plug it back in and see what's going on with it. Yeah, so that's about it for the firehouse. The roads, we must have put, I don't know, 1,000, 1,200 yards of crushed gravel that we crushed last summer down to the pit, out and got the dirt roads tuned up in pretty good shape. It turned out nice, huh?
They're better than I've ever seen them. They're just as smooth.
Yeah.
They're smoother than 127.
In some places, that doesn't take much.
You got that right.
Today, I sent Emery to Franklin to GMI, and he brought back a load of hot mix, and we, got the plate covered back over with tar on our bridge down
Clothespin
there.
Bridge? I was just gonna ask you that.
Yeah.
I've noticed a bunch of patches around town.
Yeah,
So.
and then we did some down just before Dingett's Corner, and then we did going up that hill at the Corliss Farm where the
Oh,
two
yeah.
rocks were sticking up. And then we went down and finished up what we had in the truck coming back up the Meadow Road. So puttering on that. So
Thanks, that was good.
got the stuff across the street cleaned up.
So, speaking of road maintenance, have we ever gotten that report back?
We did, we talked to him a couple weeks ago, me and Emmett. And Dana, he came back with the report. I do have the traffic counts for you, Emmett. And he gave us a little summary and says that he wants to meet with Emmett again later on this year to do some budget numbers for the CIP committee.
Okay.
Yeah, no, very nice man. Well, young man. But yeah, we'll keep going,
See what we can get out of it.
keep going forward.
Awesome.
And
Well, you couldn't do a heck of a lot on the roads with all the rain we've had.
we've had a lot of
Yeah,
rain.
I
We've
get
had a
it.
lot of rain, and then everything you touch it's mud, so you just leave it alone, and hopefully it's gonna dry out, but then we're gonna get a bunch of more rain Wednesday into, through the weekend.
Wednesday all the way through the weekend, supposed to
Oh,
rain off and
really?
on.
Jeez.
4 to 5 days in a row. So
Wow.
I'm not looking forward to that.
Well, at least
So-
I'd rather have rain than out west where they have nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we
We can deal with the rain.
We can deal with it. We don't, we think we have it bad, but we really don't.
No.
You know, especially here, we're fairly well primed to take care of even flooding type situations that
So-
a lot of places can't handle, so.
So it worked real good because last spring, the folks were supposed to come do our crushing at the pit, and they got running behind. So they didn't get there until late summer, and I didn't get any gravel out last fall because of the rain and the other projects, so it worked real good that we had the material all there and could just scoop it up and load it in the trucks, and,
Good.
I mean, we got a lot out, but we could do the same thing again tomorrow and,
Run out. Good material
Yeah.
though.
yeah. And the calcium tank, pump and tank, or, cause it just gets destroyed with that calcium. So I've got a new pump, a new motor, that's all installed. So that's back up and running. And then the town chipper, it's gotta be 30, Bob Mock bought it. I've been here 18 years, Addie was here 5 years, Barney was here a couple of years, was Bob
He's
late
been gone
after?
20-something years.
Huh?
Bob's been gone 20 years.
Yeah, so, we had a tire go bad on that and the rim was bad, so, we purchased 2 new tires, installed them on the chipper.
Do you think we got our money's worth with that chipper?
Just in the
Maybe
last
some.
month.
So Bob's been gone 20 years. Wow. So we got our money's worth out of the tires.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So we've done that. Went down to Pike a week ago Thursday and got a load of coal patch and got a bunch of the other holes filled in. They give that stuff away now, what was it, $1,500 for 12 ton?
Wow.
Nothing's given away anymore.
You don't even get a free ride to jail anymore, do you?
You get the free ride, but it's the payment at the end that hurts.
Yeah, unless anybody has any questions, I think,
Emmett, would you like to speak on the trees at Riverdale?
What was that? Couldn't
yeah,
hear.
no, I was just gonna
Okay.
get through this and
Okay.
then ask if it was okay.
Okay.
Speaking of trees, there were some trees that were on a landowners or something like that that we had to ask about, and I don't remember
Well,
where that ended up going.
that
Emmett and I.
That ended up that I was gonna do the project, cause I could do it cheaper than hiring somebody. But now where that land is all in, thank you for reminding me, because I was gonna talk about this tonight. Now that that's one of them lots that they wanna buy off in is it Amherst
Oh,
Drive?
on Non-Road, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
Non-Road.
so
Right, it's a paper road.
Yeah.
do you still want to do that? What's your thoughts there? I mean, what are you gonna do?
Well, my concern is, it's been brought to our attention,
Correct.
and if we know about it, if there's a problem, we're liable.
Okay, so
So-
I didn't wanna get carried away.
I would
And then
ask
the-
the board, but I think
Keep-
would be prudent of us to go forward and get rid of it.
Okay.
And this is basically one problem tree, right?
I think it's one tree, isn't it? Is it
No,
one?
no, it's a couple of days' work down there. Oh,
Really?
yeah, no, it's.
Oh, I didn't
yeah,
realize it was
no,
that
it's-
big a deal.
If you're talking on Manchester Drive, yes.
Oh, I guess it is off of
Yeah.
Manchester Drive, yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's not just one tree.
Well, I
They're
guess
all
I
in
still,
under
I
the
still
wires
maintain that
and
we know
leaning,
about it
yeah.
and we're kind of on the hook,
Okay,
you know.
okay, before I started, I wanted to double check where you guys were gonna sell that land, go down there and do that, and then,
I mean, it's the board's decision, but.
Yeah.
That I would,
Where are we with sale of that land?
That's coming up.
well, we were gonna talk about it, but,
We can talk about it now if you want.
yeah.
The reason I ask is because like if it's going up now, then we don't necessarily need to
No.
take care of it, we just pass the information along.
Yeah.
But if it's gonna take a process for a while beforehand, then we should probably take care of
Well,
it.
it depends on how you want to handle
right, and the neighbor that owns the house where the trees are on that, I mean, he might buy it, because he's the abutter, he's gonna have
Right.
first refusal, right? The
He might
abutter,
want the firewood.
huh?
He might want the firewood if he did that.
So,
So, let's circle back on that topic then when we get there, I guess.
Okay, all right.
okay, so, Susan's taken care of the cemeteries long before I came to Webster. And Brenda is in charge of the cemeteries now. Not the last snowstorm, but the first heavy wet snowstorm, we had a good-sized pine tree come down into Riverdale, which, we cleaned up. But there is several serious trees. I've got pictures of some of them that are on the edge of the cemetery. As you're looking at the cemetery to the right, we don't own, but the back of the cemetery we do own, down over the bank towards the river, and then around the left where the park and the walkway goes. And there's one tree on the right, it's split right down the middle, and we're not even gonna need any wind for that to come apart. And we really shouldn't be holding any funeral service, it needs to be taken care of, needs to be chained or wrapped, it needs to be taken down, but there's several there that need to be taken down, but, it's gonna cost some money, it's gonna cost a lot of money. But, they're dangerous, and when that pine splits and comes down, some of them stones are this high, and they go back into history, in the people that made Webster, and
It will take out those.
you're not gonna replace them.
No,
And
and the fence.
when I got looking around the other day when we were down there, doing the spring cleanup, can I approach the bench? I've got in trouble before by barging up, I'm just trying to be,
You're just a friend of ours.
but I just,
If you're coming with clenched fists, that might be different, but otherwise, yeah, it's all good.
okay, this has nothing to do with that, but the lightning struck this Monday down on Lake Road, on Ralph Road, and that
Oh, wow.
splattered that all.
Oh, what a mess
Wow.
that
I
tree
sent
was.
that to the police chief, but, yeah, it came all the way out onto Lake Road,
Oh, wow.
so. Yeah,
It was a big tree.
yeah, so, oh, and we set the sign last Friday?
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna
A week
ask
ago,
about that
Friday.
too.
Yeah.
The electrician, he said if it doesn't rain Thursday and Friday, because it's supposed to, and if it does, he's
Do it a
gonna-
different day.
He's gonna come out the first of the week.
Oh, that'll be neat.
get that wired up. So look at that handsome dude.
Wow, my
Looks more like a
goodness.
sea captain.
Now, what were you all dressed up for?
A funeral.
Oh.
The deputy chief in Bradford
Oh,
passed away.
oh dear.
So we went to the walkthrough, and then the following Saturday, which would have been not a week ago Saturday, I took our tanker up to Bradford for the day to cover, so.
Oh, that
because
was,
they,
that was nice.
And Warner brought an engine.
I just was wondering if they had some big fire department
No.
shindig they were going to.
So that's
This is the split
that's
tree?
the top of the tree. See how it's split?
Oh, wow. Holy mackerel.
And the pictures show, I mean, the pictures don't show the,
And it looks like it had split and semi-healed before too, so it's
Yeah.
not even as strong as.
Probably dead in the
and there's
middle.
another dead tree on the other side.
Mhm.
But that, that's the oak on the
Oh, that's-
right-hand side of it, and that oak is in I mean, that oak's not gonna go anywhere for a day or two. That pine's gonna fall a lot, but this is the one that fell, broke off during the snowstorm.
Oh, wow, look at it.
And then
Ouch.
it,
Yeah, the tops of mine went down too. Do you have any that kind of like show where it is and, oh, here we go.
oh, that's the one on the
Okay,
right-hand side that we already cleaned up. But
It's right on the left, like
it's on the
halfway
left
down.
side, you go back down to Adam Mock. And Chucky Rose's dad's right there, Charlie Rose. It's right there. And then you look at, there's about 14 of them right across the back, in the back of the cemetery.
And we
And-
own those?
Yep, and we need to do some serious, that one on the left really has to get taken care of. If it got taken care of yesterday, it wouldn't be soon enough, but you need to go down there and look at them.
Okay, so there's the damaged trees, and then there's others that you're suggesting to get rid of that probably will become damaged soon or whatever.
The big old pines in the back, those need
Yeah.
to come, yeah, they all gotta come down.
So none of the lumbermen or something would cut those down for like, this sounds pretty stupid, but for trading the trees or giving us a break or something?
Ain't worth anything.
They're not worth anything, they're huge, they're old bull pine, they're big knotted, and.
So they don't make they don't make
No,
boards
they
out
couldn't.
of them?
They couldn't even sell them at. If they took them to the sawmill, they'd laugh at them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. No, if they're not gunshot barrel round, actually, they don't even want wood any bigger than this anymore.
Yeah, if it's too large, they won't take it.
'Cause they don't have a
which
sawmill
sounds
for the-
weird.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it's the quality of the lumber. The knots are this big.
Oh,
They,
I see.
I mean, it's just, it's too big to chip, you gotta grind it, it's crane work.
Okay.
What is a lot of money, would you guesstimate it is?
Oh, if you did them all, you backed in there tomorrow and hired somebody to put them down with a crane, you're probably looking at 30 grand.
Great.
And that's just a, I haven't,
That's just off the cuff,
Does,
Yeah,
is there a manner or place where they can actually be laid?
No, they
If
gotta-
if they're like done in a row, or does it have to be nothing but crane?
well, you got the river down back, you could cut them and fall them, but then they're just gonna lay there. And then the river's down on the back, and there's 4 different ways you could do it, but it's gonna make a mess unless you
Even if we
crane it.
get that pine cut that's split, because people are gonna be going in there planting their
Yeah.
flowers, and we've got to do something with that. We do, really.
Just like I should, yeah, condemn it until it's
Yeah, and I
fixed,
can
because
put a
somebody's
lock on
gonna
it.
get, it's dangerous.
It is very dangerous. And I think we would probably have $30,000 in damage to the stones and the fence if we didn't do anything to it.
Yeah, and
I mean,
nobody
all
got,
the
and
stones-
nobody got hurt.
Yeah,
So what, If we're looking, you mentioned the 30,000 figure as a guess to take care of all of them. If we're looking at taking care of the ones that are currently damaged and are saying, you know, we should really close the cemetery, what are we likely to look at for that figure?
Well, a day with a crane and, you're talking 10 grand.
I was gonna say 10 to 15.
Yeah, but if you're all set up with a crane and it's already there, you're gonna go,
Yeah.
but if I hire the crane, when I hired that crane, that was $6,500. 65? Yeah, 65, cause it was, yeah, 6,500. And that was a half a day, so,
Which sections of stuff would the money come from? I know we have, for example, stuff that's set aside for cemetery and parks, but I don't think it's really designed for that.
No, the only thing I can think of is your contingency money.
yeah,
Would it be contingency, or does I know we added to it for other uses, but the municipal property, is that also valid for this? Or is that only like buildings and stuff?
No, I think you could run a argument that it's municipal property.
Okay.
I mean, I usually think of municipal property as actually a building or something like that, but I could certainly,
that's the old, but.
Just because I think it makes more sense, if possible, to take it out of funds that
I
are
understand what you're
funded
saying,
instead
yeah.
of contingency.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
and that's headed right back to the inn.
Into the cemetery.
I mean, on the left side, I mean, it goes down, there's a ravine, and there's a nice little running brook down through a runoff.
Yeah.
And it would just it would devastate, it would just look like,
Yeah, we need to get it down, get it out of there.
then there's another one there's another one
Right in
that's
front of it,
behind it,
behind it, yeah.
that the top is broke out of it, not worried about it falling down in a little bit, but it's already broken, so if the crane's set up,
So,
It's there, why not do it?
yeah, so Dana, with the expectation that either way, that whether this is just the emergency trees or all of the trees, with that being expected either way to be over the 10,000 mark, don't we have to go request quotes and bids for it?
Yes.
oh, we can do bids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a big deal.
Do it?
A bid, over 10,000, we need a bid,
Oh,
3 bids, but that isn't, I mean,
Which is fine, because we can just have Dana go ask people for quotes and then take care of it.
Yeah. We have, in the property maintenance EFT, we have 16,000. And the contingency is also 16,000. I don't know what else we have that we could access, and again, that property maintenance EFT, I'd have to have that cleared by DRA before, but I can see that it probably would go.
so.
So I guess the question is make sure that we have ways that we could fund the full tree set instead of just the emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Because if DRA says, no, you can't do that, then that kind of
Well,
stops it.
I mean, short of having an emergency town meeting,
Yeah.
which I'd rather not do.
No, you don't wanna do
Right,
that.
because we can certainly use contingency to cover getting rid of the emergency trees,
Right.
but that's not enough to cover everything, so.
You know, we would be, I mean, I'm thinking we're maybe short 15,000 or something like that.
So what we'll do is I'll get a quote, so we'll know ballpark figure, because Old Yankee Tree, Jeffy Dearborn, he's done our tree work for us beside the roads, for Addie and for myself, and He is who I use on my stuff, but the other young man, the gay,
Eric, yeah.
Eric Gay.
he's a good young man too, but they're all friends, they all work together on some projects, but just gotta explain, but they're two
Two
of the
good
people that if we're gonna do that, I just don't want, I'm not gonna lowball it for the lowest whatevers, we're gonna have somebody in there that we know is gonna do a good job.
It's
And-
not like you can just replace what's there.
No, and that, and Jeffrey Dearborn and his son, and I think the world of
Eric,
Eric, he's a good kid. During mud season, he had some trees up on some houses in Pillsbury Lake, and they needed to get cranes in and all that, and we made it happen, because we had to. And, he called me every time he went on one of them roads to check. He's respectful. So, and they use the same crane guy, cause they don't have their own, them cranes are huge money, they hire them to come in for the day. They use the same, but,
So let's get what's needed, and then Dana can just start reaching out for quotes, and then we can
Yeah.
actually take care of it.
Okay.
'Cause in theory, if we have appropriate quotes, we could even take care of it at our work session, right before we enter non-public, so.
And maybe by that time I'll have a few more options.
Yeah, cause that's just next week, so we, in theory, can get the options, get them written down, and then be able to make the choice.
Could you get quotes, Emmett? Because you know exactly what you'd be explaining to people.
yeah, cause it's gotta be apples to apples.
Right. Right,
It
and
can't
I'd
be-
feel better if,
Yep,
you know.
And we will need to have at least three
Yep.
quotes,
yep.
so. All right.
So what about the park? You
okay,
had,
we have, speaking of trees, we have 3 down at the park that need to be cut. One of them is dead, and it's very dangerous. Before Roy Fanjoy comes in here and says, oh, you can't have Old Home Day down there this year, we need to get it taken care of. And it's about $3,600.
Didn't we budget more for trees for parks?
I put it in my budget, but it got taken out.
yeah,
Taken out.
yeah,
Yeah, it's $3,600.
So can you do those
Did
trees
we
in the
put
park?
that-
I have to
Cause
look
I
at
know we
them.
didn't
Yeah.
just
Oh, you have to look
remove-
at 'em.
I
Did that
haven't-
get
I
moved
haven't.
I
to
mean, he
another
could, Emma
line?
could probably do them, but it's the cleaning up the
I'm
mess and
not
everything
aware
else.
which line it is.
See what happens
off
if you,
the top,
if,
but
the last ones that I took down in the
I'd have
park,
to go down and get my budget book.
it's
Yeah.
cheaper than taking them down with a bucket truck or a crane, but them great big limbs, they drive right into the ground and then you gotta pull them out and it's like, it makes a mess.
Yeah, it does.
Is
And
it that one big
ES
pine,
ESG will
is
come in and
that?
clean them up, what's that?
There's 3 down there, you say?
Yep.
Cause I know there's that one big pine
Yeah,
that's
it's the
that's
one big
dead.
pine that's gotta come down. The other 2 need to come down, but
Could that be planned for another year?
there's a leaning oak. I mean, while they're down there, they might as well take them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, except we just don't have money to do everything, and I don't think that's the problem. But that's a safety, right there,
It
the
is.
park's a safety
It is.
thing, that'd have to come kind of first, I would think, but.
Well, let me,
Not that this
the
is
frustrating
not a
thing, it's
budget
not the
handout.
money, it's the,
Right.
it's the budgeting.
You can do it, I know you.
Senate.
So,
Well, you know that
pull it
police
out of
budget
the
you
hat.
have?
And I have another issue.
So, I wanna try to have us figure out where, cause I know that we didn't just, the only budget that we said, sorry, we're gonna have that be less, was Steve's.
Yeah,
And that was because it was, you don't have the person yet.
Well, we'll look into the budget book
So-
that I have, and I can tell you.
I know that if it's not there, it was because it was put someplace else, so that would cover it.
was that added
And so we
capital
need to know
reserve?
where that
I
when?
don't.
Cause
know.
that would
I
cover
just
it.
put it in my, it's not capital reserve.
Would it be enough, do you think? Was it enough? I don't recall it being,
I don't remember the number or where it went is the problem.
yeah, do you remember the amount that for trees?
I just remember that we did
The
not
amount of
simply
what?
decrease things.
Yeah, the amount that you had suggested for trees?
$3,500
35,
Yep.
okay,
to make my total budget of $7,150.
okay. I have to look at the budget book and see if we did put it somewhere else, where we put it.
Yeah.
I don't recall. Okay. But again, you got these trees that gotta come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I never thought trees would be such a problem.
yeah, right. Well, after that storm the other night, that was interesting, so.
Yeah.
Not there. No.
So if the state is paying for basically clothespin bridge replacement,
Oh, that's mine.
yeah, I know that's your
That'll
next
be the
one, so you
next
wanna
one.
wait, cause I just was wondering about, can we use some money from that? No,
No.
we can't.
I don't see where that went in here.
It's to the cost from the hunt tonight.
But I know that anytime that we were removing something, we said we're gonna move that over here or combine it with this. Cause we did that with several different things.
Did we have a
too.
tree fund or something, Dana?
Not that I know of.
Because didn't
yeah.
we have some trees out here that need to be cut as well?
Exactly, yeah.
I thought we had money and we put it.
This one,
those
but this
come out
out
of
here, I can
building
come out of
fund.
the the townhouse, the
Oh,
town
yeah,
hall.
town hall.
Right there.
Why don't I,
Look at the lake.
look that up, Dave?
Yeah.
I'm
3
sorry, I
years I've
don't
seen
have it
that.
in my head.
This is a third year.
Imagine.
That's okay. Can't
But,
have it all in your head,
If I see
but,
this-
and I can think about ways we can,
finagle.
Horrible.
is that a good word to use? I don't know
Well, it's
whether,
what we're doing.
finagle is a good word.
I have an idea.
My car or what?
That's
When
what
they
A
were-
yard sale or a bake sale?
I ain't cooking.
But in any case, yes.
Yeah, let's,
Yeah, I know, cause I know that she brought that forward.
did.
So,
She did.
and it wasn't, oh yeah, we don't have to do that. It was, we can do that with this. I just don't remember what that was.
Okay, let's,
So, yeah, we need to take care of that too.
Right now, they do
Okay.
start in a couple hours.
That's not immediate, like the split tree though, right?
It's in
Yeah,
the
I
loan.
mean, it needs to be done, but,
but it really needs to be done, the park needs to be done before Old Home Day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is what you
exactly.
think.
Well, and it should really be done before people start going down there.
Well,
to,
they're
like,
gonna
swim
be
or
going
whatever.
down there to swim
Yeah.
and whatnot, so.
Yeah.
Soon,
Soon, right.
Okay,
yeah.
He works on all this stuff. This is from.
well, hopefully it won't take me that long to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Getting rid of this Dana.
Do we have anything further in the department head
Yes.
section?
Um,
Yes.
Brenda.
Cemeteries, we're back on cemeteries again. So, for years, we have not done any maintenance to our cemeteries as far as the stones go. Because you cannot find anybody to fix stones. So I saw this article in the paper, this guy that fixed stones. So he came out and gave me a quote this week. We have approximately 120 stones in 3 cemeteries that need to be fixed. They're either fallen down, or they're broke, or Emmett knows, they mow them. And so he gave me a quote of approximately $12,000. We do have a cemetery account, trust fund, that supposedly we can never use the money out of it. It's got $27,000 in it. But Dana said there may be a way that we can get around that. So what I'm asking is if we could take that money out of that account, if we can get at it.
Is it, so there's, I think there's that, much like there's one with the library that can't be done anything with. And
Well-
then there's also the cemetery improvements.
I'm looking at the
Yeah.
cemetery improvement, and I just wanna refresh my memory of what.
So there's a cemetery trust fund that has like 10, 11,000 in it.
11,000, that's the improvement. yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and then
the
there's
other
that other one.
Is 27, which
It's-
is a little more problematic to get
Yeah,
on that
it was
one.
put in for perpetual care in the very
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah,
And, I mean, $27,000 is just gonna sit there. I mean, it's sat there all these years. Why? There's gotta be a way.
it's a legal process. It's called cypre.
So you might as well have nothing.
It's almost 28,000, so
It's as good as
I could
nothing.
use some for this
The
and
legal
then not
cost would
take
be
it all.
27,999.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I didn't know if we could take some of that also and use for the trees.
I wonder if
I
this,
would be very interested to know if we can do that.
Well,
I've mentioned it to Mary.
And if it has to exist at all, or if it could actually be,
I've been
drainage
involved in
to
a
do all of that.
process, the capital reserve fund, as far as the cemetery improvement, that $11,000 is available, you can use that. The cemetery trust fund itself, that has 27, I believe that's something you have to go to court
Oh, you have to go to
and
court for
have
it?
them, do that, because I've done that
It's
in
ever
the
easy.
past.
yeah. That sounds costly.
let's figure out what the process is.
It's a legal
'Cause-
process.
Cause as she says, it's doing us no good to just sit there, so.
Okay. I mean, there will be a cost for the legal,
Yes.
so, but,
Wonder if we could take a loan using that as collateral and then pay back the loan. Does that sound really weird? I don't know, it's just,
I think
I don't
if
know,
we
I
were
just-
able to sell
We,
this.
we just can't keep
Wouldn't
letting these stones, we can't keep letting the stones go.
Right.
It's families that are no longer, I mean, there's,
No, that
a
frost
lot of them
cycle,
have been brought up from when they was brought up from the dam, before the dam was built.
that frost cycle every year, I mean, it moves, it's
Yeah,
one year, them stones, and then it will tip,
and that'll flop them
Then
right
it will
over.
tip.
We've got some up there that are,
and then, next thing you know, it's
Well, it's the
over
right
and-
thing to do,
yeah.
And
Yep.
it's, the people that are in them cemeteries, the bulk of them, that's why Webster's such a nice town, and,
Yeah,
it is
It's
what it
them
is.
people that did it.
Because of them people, and it's just I know it's money, it's crazy money, but
That's the right thing, it's just figuring out how to do
it's,
it.
it's our job to take care of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's,
I think, did you say 11,000 for that? I mean, that's extremely reasonable, I think, for.
I
Yeah, it's
thought so,
approximately
12,000 something.
it was approximately $100 a stone,
Really?
give or take.
Yeah.
And that's what we were paying Perry Brothers probably 8, 10 years ago,
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
that.
was, yeah. So it's something we gotta do.
so what do they do, clean them off or something, or
No, they need to be
Reset them.
fixed.
they like reset them or something,
Yep.
or?
Yeah,
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, they,
Pour cement, pour cement thing and put them in it,
Do they fix broken ones? Are there
Yeah.
broken ones?
Yeah.
too?
yeah.
oh, the old ones that have
Yeah.
fallen over, and
Yeah.
then the snow gets on them, and then
What a mess.
Cracks them, yeah.
it's,
But you can't find anybody that wants to do it,
No, I'm,
I've asked Perry Brothers, and, oh, we can get to it in the fall, but then fall comes and they're
does
so
this
busy.
man work by himself?
Huh?
Does he work by
He
himself?
does, he does, he has his proof of insurance and whatever else. So,
So let's take a look and see what our options are, especially with regards to the fund, because that would open up being able to do both that and the trees and so on, depending on how long
How
it
much
takes
we can
and how
take
much
out of
the
it.
process is to do it, et cetera.
Okay, so let me just review this for a minute. We've got trees in the Tyler Road Cemetery. Is that Riverdale?
Riverdale.
Riverdale. And that was just a rough figure of $30,000.
that, yeah, because
To
it's.
do it all.
It's
That's
10
for all
grand
the
a
trees.
day.
Okay.
yeah,
Then we have the trees in the park. And that is,
3,500, is that what I said?
Is that for all three trees, dear, or is that just for that one big
No,
one?
all three.
Is
Oh,
that
good.
a quote from Eric?
35, yes, that is from Eric.
Okay. All right, and then we have the stone in the cemetery stone project. And that's 11,000,
Approximately
12,000.
12,000.
Did I miss anything? Okay.
Just dinner.
I never miss a meal, Emmett.
Now that we're finalizing most of our stuff for ARPA, and I know we've gotten a lot of stuff like the trailer and now most of the sign and everything finalized, where are we at with that?
I would love to tell you. Stand by.
Nine hundred
Well,
and thirty-six
we have money that's been committed.
Money that's not still committed, I guess is the best place to put it.
We have about
'Cause some of the projects are
$3,000 that's not
About
committed.
three, okay.
How much?
3,000.
I was off by a couple of grand.
Now, I mean, there are some projects in there that have not happened, and again, we have to use this money by the end of December.
Yeah.
What am I searching for here? Oh, here it is. No, I lied. About 3,000 is what it is.
And I know that in the original incarnation of the ARPA stuff and ARPA for larger entities, there are very specific use cases, but we are, I believe, in the, this is just
They call it
lost
revenue replacement,
So,
revenue,
so
because,
do we have limitations on what we can use that for?
no.
In the beginning, there was, but
And,
then they
and
changed it.
how
They
much
changed it.
how much is in that fund? Not, because I know that the 3,000 is with set aside stuff.
The
for other
3,000
projects.
is not committed.
Right.
The
So what's
balance in the
actually
account
it?
is about $23,000.
Okay. So in theory, we could actually use that money to do, for example, the trees.
Mhm.
And then the other projects that are in there could come out of the other funds that would be able to fund those projects if we don't have the right funds to fund the tree project.
Yes,
Okay. So,
it's all fun.
work on what we can do with the various machinations of funds. And then we should present that and make a decision at our next meeting then.
Okay. Would you like that the 16th?
As much as I don't wanna overload that, I think that makes sense, especially with, for example, trees that really need to be taken care of immediately.
Okay. And Emmett will have figures for me on the other.
I'll get on the horn in the
Yeah.
morning.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I just don't want it to linger too long. Because we have those two
Well,
trees.
give us a chance, we can make it linger.
And,
Just kidding.
and
That's cool.
if we, just thinking, we certainly want things like the cemetery stones repaired, but that's not a, it must be done right now. So if we have to, I would love to be able to bring that forward at town meeting as like, let's just take care of this, as a warrant article to add more funding to something, or to just do it. If we can't take care of it now. I
Yeah.
wanna try to take care of it now, but
Okay.
if we can't.
All right.
We'll see if we can get any money out of that fund,
I will
and then
analyze
we'll
that.
go from there.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
okay. So
Seems
speaking
fun.
of roads, we have a bridge that we'd like to get over.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Unless there's other department head,
We're good.
okay.
What's that?
We are, we're at the point now that we are waiting to finalize the last two easement and permanent easements that we need for the bridge. We have to have that finished before they can put it out for bid for construction. And oh, interestingly enough, and then we have to offer the old bridge for sale. That's part of it.
Oh, my
So if any of you would like a bridge for your backyard, I think here's your opportunity. But, you know, it's just bizarre.
Welcome to the federal government.
Yeah,
Do they have to take it down if we offer for sale?
we probably have to deliver it, Dee.
Oh,
I don't know. At any rate, that's where we are as far as the, waiting to go into, the bid process for the contractor. I met today with the construction, engineer, and who gave me, the other thing that really is very bizarre with these programs, they give you a sheet, and you're supposed to decide how much you think this is going to cost. Now, I am not an engineer, I don't have an engineering department, and I'd like to say, I think it should cost $10. However, I did go up and I thought I had really worked hard on this, and I came up with, okay, we're gonna pay the construction engineer $100,000. I was only off $200,000. So, anyway, that goes, tomorrow I'm gonna be sending it over to Kevin Russell, who is our representative at the state. That will either bless it, or he'll tell me to go back and renegotiate, which happens apparently all the time, so it's not like it's an unusual thing. He did tell me today, that we will get 3 bills every month once the construction starts. We'll have the bill from the contractor, we'll have the bill from the construction engineer, and then we have the VHB bill anyway. VHB bill, VHB is a 2080 bill, and at some point, we're gonna be able to start getting the money that we'll put in it, which is almost 300,000 now, to be returned to us, or 80% of it to be returned to us. The other, we'll be able to, and I'm gonna talk with Kevin about this, we'll have to pay it out of our treasury and then be reimbursed. In other words, they don't pay it direct, because I was, I thought, oh, isn't this great, everything just goes direct, we don't have to do this, but, so we're gonna have a lag. I think we can do it without having to do some sort of line of credit or something. Again, we need to figure out that's how it's going to work. Depends on how long it takes to be reimbursed.
That's almost scary.
It's very scary. And because we're talking about like a
Few
$3 million
dollars. Yeah,
deal.
right.
As a reimbursement, if it's reimbursing money spent out of a fund, are we allowed to reimburse back to the fund?
You mean a trust fund?
Yes.
No.
I had a feeling you were gonna say
Yeah.
that,
No,
but I had
that-
to ask.
Yeah, we can only deposit what the body, the legislative body.
So you put that, when you deposit that back in, you put that under the road. Line. Right?
I thought it was underneath my budget.
Oh, okay, I'll share it with you.
So, has DRA given you any
There you
guidance
go.
as to what the
My
best
dream
way
movie.
to do and show that is?
I have not talked to them because I just met with him today, so I'm
Okay.
gonna be talking to them and get their advice.
Perfect.
What they think
Okay.
is the best way to do it. And again, it's just everything with municipal accounting is scratchy, for lack of a better way to put it. You have the money, but you can't spend it, and you have it coming in, and
Got lots of paperwork.
there's a lot of paperwork, and, and that's what I do. I don't know if I do it very well, but that's what I do.
If I remember, there is a process where we basically submit a form and a reason to DRA of going over budget, so if we added it as a budget line item, but the budget would be fully offset by what came into it.
There's a
So-
process that you can do,
Better order my
it's
culverts.
not, it's a little more complicated, because obviously you need to really get your reasons straightened out, and hopefully you won't have to go to a special town meeting.
Yeah.
And depending on how much it is, this project, I
Well, but
think,
it-
they're gonna be used to, they're gonna know how to tell me how to do it.
Well, and they would likely be, if it was that, it would probably be fairly simple if we were saying, yes, the budget's gonna be up, but all of that is revenue over here, cause it's just how we
Right.
respend what you give us.
I don't wanna be in the position that I have to go to the DRA and say, we're gonna overdraw the budget by $3 million. Is
Yeah,
that
no.
okay?
So,
Nothing to do.
so, if we can't put that back in the bridge budget, what do you guys have for a plan? What do we?
That's what he's gonna ask the DRA,
Okay,
is how we handle the finance side of it.
Well, we'll have to just pay it out of the general fund, for lack of a better way. I mean, you know, if it comes in as a
no,
reimbursement,
but I,
basically.
right, but I was just, if we take it out of the bridge account,
Mhm.
and then.
I'm
we-
hoping to keep the bridge account just for the, design engineer, which we will get 80% of that money back, which will go into the general fund as well.
Right, but then,
So the float might be good.
so then the general fund, so you're gonna talk to your people to find out how to take it from the general fund and put it back where it belongs.
If we have, for example, next year when the board is working up the warrant, and we had money in the general fund that was over and above what we try to save for emergencies, I would suggest to the board that we make a deposit to these trust funds. And again, thinking of what projects you have left, hopefully you only have maybe one bridge, which they tell me is fine, but still, I'm not quite convinced.
Well, we have three bridges that, I mean, you got the bridge that we share with Bosquen.
Yeah,
Which everyone tells us is fine.
That's
even
the
though
one
we've
they
been
told me
it's
that
Hey, don't look at,
it doesn't look it to me either.
No.
And then you have the one at Pillsbury Lake. I mean, that's a cement structure.
Is that the one just before, Concord Drive?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then we still need to do something on the backside of Pond Hill.
Someone told me that the one for the exit of Pillsbury Lake is actually state. Is that true?
Or state inspects them. State inspects all our bridges.
But, so it's just state inspected, it's not actual state, okay.
the
Not-
one
not-
on Deer Meadow Road, that one that, on Pillsbury, I haven't seen that on the bridge list, on the red list.
You know, I got the E2 signs up there, we have to do that. But,
Well, it's good to keep it in mind, yeah.
and then we got quite a project, that probably won't happen this summer, but it's been in the flood plan and everything in the past. But, down at Johnny Little's, at Ricky's Pit, which Dee knows where
Yeah.
I'm talking about, and you familiar? You're coming down over the hill by Corliss's,
Okay.
then you come down into
Make
there
a-
and there's a pipe, there's a,
Oh, yeah.
Make a
pump
left.
site sign there on the right. Well, that culvert is way undersized, it always floods when we have wicked bad floods there and they shut the road down. But the upper end of that pipe, it's starting to get weak. The top of it's the rocks fell off the top of it and fell in front of it, and I dug them back out and pulled them back. The road isn't gonna fall in, but
I will say, as far as the Clothespin Bridge project with the construction, we're very fortunate that that we're getting this, help from the
Very,
federal
very,
government. So
very.
it's really just kind of a temporary squeeze that we're talking about.
Yeah.
but not, you know, not a long-term thing.
In that something down there, I would like to design, I'd like to have them folks come over from Mitchie's that worked with us over there and design that or engineer that for a box culvert.
Yeah. it's
How
better
large is
than
the
the-
culvert that's down there now?
Well, it's gotta be 4 feet.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, a box culvert would last a lot longer
That
than
would-
those.
yeah.
It would last a lot longer and, the traffic you start them 15 or 18-inch pipes, but you start getting into them big plastic, I mean,
Yeah.
if we're gonna spend the money
And there's gonna be more traffic on
in
it all
that,
the time.
Yeah.
with the floodplain, the flood and all that stuff in the hazard, I'm pretty sure that's all, we did all that with the hazardous mitigation stuff way back. What was yeah.
And you're gonna do it again very soon,
Yeah.
very,
That's a good reminder though, cause that was a lot of water around there a couple of weeks ago.
I may have to call the police department for a gun. This is,
I've seen it when Addie was a road agent, cause I'll never forget that water was going across that, and he sent me down with my backhoe, and that water was coming across there so strong, that water picked that backhoe up and started downstream, and I just held that thing and she paddled, and that's one of them times that you,
well, it's amazing when you watch TV and see them in Texas
Oh,
floating along.
jeez.
Away,
Never-
cars just going.
Oh,
never
Trucks.
forgot, it was
Yeah.
like,
So the thing I'll say there is that the amounts that have been in the Bridge and Culvert Fund, we've continued to add to it to make sure that we had plenty of culvert space and to do more of that work. But it was always designed to be the 20% match for Clothespin Bridge primarily.
correct.
We were fortunate enough to be able to use funds and take care of things with White Plains, as well as to continue funding it. And then to have the feds say that they're gonna deal with that 20% for at least the construction side of it. So that fund is going to get drained, just because of the way that we have to pay. But it was always designed to do that. And depending on how accounting works, how far that needs to be drained. But it should never be, it shouldn't be in a situation where it's basically zero and you've got, one of these culvert, the box culvert project, and it's not getting the funding put back into it. Because we should be getting basically that full amount back.
It's just gonna be a minute.
Right.
So,
right.
so we will find a way to, it's probably not gonna be at the same level that it is now, because there's no reason to have that much sitting there. But we should definitely have enough to do that project, at least once the funding
Correct.
stuff figures itself out.
Well, the only thing I have to say is it's good to have them in place and to have the money to work with when you need it.
Oh, the
And
town's
to
very fortunate that
take
they've
care
saved
of
us,
the-
yeah.
We've been lucky.
That bridge and stuff, but,
Well, and we probably will realize quite a revenue from the sale of the bridge.
I've got this bridge I can sell you.
That's the funniest
Barely
thing.
used.
That is amazing.
Isn't
You
it?
really
Wow.
think,
Yeah.
All right.
I'll think they must not.
Any,
Recently patched.
we should probably talk about the,
The next item I
the
have,
purchase portions, or the the easement portions of that, but probably not in public session.
thank you guys.
the only thing that I gotta tell you before I leave is, them two steel plates, They don't go with the bridge.
On Clothespin, you mean Clothespin Bridge steel plates?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed
They're not
Oh.
owned by the bridge.
I was just saying,
That didn't come out of the bridge fund.
I remember a while back, but did we
Emmett, there
actually
goes my
pay them for
profit.
that, or did they just say keep them until they're, until you're
Oh,
done?
no, that's one I bought out of my general fund from Cohen's.
Oh,
That
yeah,
one.
it was
The
the
big
White
big
Plains
ones.
ones.
They're all returned.
Okay, perfect.
They're all,
It
the
might be attractive to sell a holy bridge.
thank you, folks.
Bye,
Thank you.
thanks.
I'm gonna behave myself.
Yes, you
Okay,
have.
So I'm going to, well, go ahead with your update from PSNH, but I'm gonna suggest that, an item there and an item in Clothespin Bridge should both be discussed in non-public because of numbers.
The item in Clothespin Bridge, as far as the property easement acquisitions, that is being taken care of by the consultant and the
So we are,
coal and company. So we have no, we would not have any sort of input on that.
including the various other options to provide?
Um,
Because I would think that that
They
would
have,
because that
the
would be-
options that they're talking about as far as helping traffic calm and things like that, they are working with the state to include that in the grant.
Oh,
One of those speed signs, I was shocked to find out, is $10,000,
Oh,
Well-
my God.
so.
and so strictly speaking, there are many things that I would be in favor of. I would be absolutely phenomenally against those signs.
Well, I think then that's the case, then we'd need to really chat. We'll see where they come up with at the end. I don't know if
Is the,
I don't
So
know
what
if
are
they're.
those
not,
signs
not
that-
only does the sign cause and need power unless it's
It-
Oh,
It
so
would
it's
be
one of those
solar.
with the flashing lights and all that
Yeah.
stuff?
He did
Oh.
tell me it would be
But-
solar.
But on top of that, they tend not to work as calming, they tend to work as high score signs for the same sorts of people that do things like the burnouts that are all over town. And B, you are constantly putting out radar waves and energy that is questionable at best.
I think these are ideas that, in trying to work out something that they're coming up with.
One of the, I kind of wish the police chief were still here, but one of the more interesting ones in my thinking is that we already have so the speed limits on the various roads, Clothespin Bridge, all of Clothespin Bridge, as well as continuing down into Concord is 35. If you take the right off towards Pillsbury and you go down that way, it's 30, it's not 35. The engineers, when they looked at the bridge, said they were surprised that the road was 35 because of all of the sharp turns up at the beginning of it and so on. So to me, it would seem a more reasonable option instead of a flashing sign that needs constant maintenance in the future to lower the speed limit to 30 for the road. And if we as the town are doing that, from what I've been told by at least some police folks, which may or may not still be here, when the town does that, then the town gets to keep funding from speeding tickets that are there. It doesn't all just go straight to the state like it does now. And so the combination of all of those things tends to be a net positive for the town, as opposed to a negative and a flashing gaudy sign that's spitting out stuff and needs to be maintained.
Okay. I probably should ask for a non-public reputation.
Tonight,
So
for
we
tonight?
can, so we can talk about that
Okay.
quickly, yeah.
So, but yeah, so since we continued down that, I'll just, that was my
Yeah,
stating
okay.
on it. Yeah, so carry on.
And so that was really the latest update on the clothespin bridge replacement. It is going to be a two-season replacement. I don't think we're gonna get an awful lot done in 2024. I think you're talking the bridge will be finished in 26,
26, really?
so.
If I remember correctly, the proposed pitch was that we would get through bidding and so on, and they may do some clearing and site prep through the winter, and then it would be the next, basically 25, where most everything would happen after spring.
Kind of depends, I was told, on the materials and the steel,
Yeah.
the availability of the steel.
And availability of rain that can wash out.
You know,
Man,
I mean, I was a little, when he said 26 today, I said, oh boy, you know.
Yeah,
'cause,
right.
Yeah,
it's kinda sad.
that won't go over very well.
No, exactly.
But
It is what it is.
if it's being built, it's not like we can change that too much.
Well, right, we can't have, we don't have much to say.
Yes,
Maybe you should buy that bridge. Oh, no, wait a minute.
then we can get over it.
Yeah.
Okay, so carry on.
The next item on your agenda is the public service case, and I guess I would like to talk to you in non-public about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Did we wanna suggest that for when, Marla was back?
Well, I was gonna just talk about very briefly
Okay.
tonight, but I think that I'm hoping that maybe you would agree to have a non-public on the 16th.
Okay.
I think we're gonna be there till midnight on the 16th.
We are on the
but we're
16th.
doing-
So you don't want to, you don't wanna do the PSNH tonight?
I'll do it quickly tonight.
Oh, okay.
Quick one.
okay.
Yeah. I just wanna let you know
More
where I am.
details on the,
Where I am.
okay.
Yeah. The next one, Russ, I believe is you.
Is me, code enforcement. So, remember the joint meeting that we had? I submitted some of the results from the code enforcement inspections that, Tom had gone out on. I have talked to one of the owners, the other one is inconclusive, and Tom is still working on it. So the other owner, has not been as cooperative. And I was wondering if the board would authorize me, pre-authorize me, so that if it passes the 18th, which is the 30-day mark, to submit everything to the town attorney for formal enforcement.
Well, as much as I don't want to spend the money, at the same time, we have to enforce everything, otherwise we might as well not enforce anything.
Right, exactly.
And we do have legal funds, and we also have legal trust funds if we go over. So I feel that we should just always be saying, if you need to go to the attorney for enforcement, that you should just do it.
Yeah, 'cause
Am
that's-
I off base there?
No, you're not off base. I guess, when I first came here, I was told you have to ask the select board for any time you go to the attorney. And then I spoke with you, several years ago now, and you had graciously authorized up to $500 for routine stuff. And it makes sense, because it's just, there's
Yeah.
so much, what money we spend on legal, we always, in my opinion, get back, because we save ourselves
You're right.
on another thing. So I said to Russ, you know, this is a little different than that, and we just wanted your approval to go and do that. I mean, we certainly can do that. In most towns, the select board doesn't wanna be bothered with every
That's
single
correct.
detail. And that's really our job. But I think Russ and I both felt we wanted to check with you on that.
No.
And we're not talking spending huge amounts of money.
Now, because technically the board is, at this point in time anyway, is the enforcement of code stuff. How is it best to do this? Is it that if it's a obvious violation and they say, no, we're not dealing with it, like this happens, at what point in time do we become involved and it's more of
I
a
would
judgment
say
call?
that's,
Or
I just tell you that they didn't respond, and like I just did, I keep you updated, and I said, they didn't respond, they haven't done what we've asked them to do in the letter, they haven't appealed, they haven't talked to us about it, they haven't done anything to rectify the situation. So now we're at the last leg, we need to put some teeth behind it.
So we're asking you if we should go to the next step.
Go to the next step and put the teeth
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah, I
So-
think you have to.
I would move that we perpetually authorize town administration to use legal for code enforcement cases that are clear-cut violations.
Yeah, second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That way, if it's
Yeah.
a question, if there's other circumstances, it still has to come through the board.
What's very important, and I know I'm singing to the choir, but people's, perceptions aren't always accurate.
Yes.
And so it's very important, the lawyer will tell you this, that the facts have gotta be the facts.
Right.
Exactly.
And,
And for example, if I bring this to the attorney, he says he doesn't have enough, then I will of course update the board and say,
Mhm.
this is where it is.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that keeps it good, and if there's any gray or funny area, then it still comes to the board. But otherwise, if it's,
Yeah.
yeah,
it's a violation, Tom says it's a violation, then just keep going forward, because it's,
Right.
and I think Russ will just notify you that,
yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
Like
so
I
that you
did
know.
with the reports the
Yeah.
last time, I'll just
Yeah.
send you what
Yeah.
we got back, so at least if somebody asks you about it and they say they reported it, you know what's going on.
no, that's good.
Yep, that is
That's
very
good.
good. That makes sense. There had been discussion of possibilities of somebody being deputized as code enforcement officer instead of just our code inspector and then the board. Has anything further happened with discussions on that?
I'm gonna talk to our current code inspector about it to see if he is interested in it. If you remember correctly at the meeting, he wasn't
He said
sure.
maybe.
He said maybe. And if maybe is still the answer, then we would need to look for somebody else to do that.
maybe most often means no.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So we would need to find somebody who could do that.
Okay.
And there might be people who are willing to. We just have to find somebody who knows enough
Right.
to be able to handle it.
Mhm.
And of course, I would work with whoever was the one
Right.
handling it. 'Cause
I just didn't know if we'd heard more on that yet, so.
No,
Okay.
but he's gonna be coming in the
Yeah.
office tomorrow, the day after, and I'll talk to him. He's gotta come in anyway for a septic plan.
Okay. All right. That moves us on to Dana's, I think, second favorite word.
On my perambulation,
Well, this is,
Russ got a call
From
from.
Bill
from
Bevins.
Bill Bevins.
he says, when is Dee gonna come out and play?
I know, he's related to me too.
I thought we did that last year.
We
No,
haven't
we
done
didn't.
it.
We
We
did
haven't done it.
We
Salisbury.
talked about it.
Oh,
Talked
Salisbury we
Yeah,
did.
we did.
Salisbury we did.
He says his board's bugging him to get it done, and he's coming back. I think he said Roy did it with him last time.
Roy Fanjo did?
Maybe he said somebody, a name I recognize. I thought it was Roy, but it might not be.
Well, I can aggravate him because
Yeah.
he's kinda related to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I'll
discussed
call
that
him.
before and said it was up, you were gonna do it,
Oh, well,
so.
if Dee's gonna go do it, then.
Yeah, I don't know right now if I have enough energy today, but,
Well, I mean, we could talk with someone, see if,
yeah.
I mean,
So I'll call him and
you don't
aggravate
necessarily
him.
have to feel you have to do it.
Yeah.
He just called me to say, when are we doing this? I'm lighting a fire under you, let's get this done.
Well, he
I
could
was
have
like,
called me,
okay.
you know, he knows my number. I just
think
talked to
he's
his wife
afraid of
today.
I believe it.
Yeah, he probably is. I known him since he was 8 years old, he used to sell me eggs in Connecticut, so.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So I guess that's that, which moves us to lots and Amherst Drive.
Okay, so my first question that I think I have the answer to, but I wanna make sure I'm thinking right. We had someone that wanted to give us a lot opposite the paper road, and I believe that the board is not interested
Right.
in accepting that.
Yes, there were 2 lots, one of which the Conservation Commission said that we were interested in.
Right.
And there was another one that none of the commissions, committees, departments said
Right.
there was any interest in.
Okay, I just,
Oh, geez, sorry.
So yes, we had decided that we were not going to accept the one that nobody had interest in.
okay,
Right.
so that, I will write a letter then to the property owner and tell them that.
Okay.
The other transaction has occurred.
Okay.
I don't know if you have the deed yet, but you will.
It already came in and I've already transferred it.
Okay,
Hello?
be sure you put it so that you don't
Tricia,
get a
I
tax
am-
bill.
I already did it.
Okay, thank you.
I've been through that mess before. I know.
Yeah, okay, great.
I
The,
will simply note that you are still being recorded and live streamed.
Oh, sorry.
And then I also
Well, I
have an
don't know
update
what
on
she
what the
did,
planning
but-
board said for their recommendation for the sale of the lots on Amherst Drive, and how they recommend the board handles it. They believe that a public hearing is a good idea to get what the people feel in the area. And they also said if the board is gonna sell them separately, that they should make sure they're at least 1.5 to 2 acres, that way they could support a well on the septic. And that was their recommendations.
but our policy says they should be merged.
Well, the offer on the table was to do that, and this is their recommendation on that offer. And then they also said to hold a public hearing, so they can get what the people in the area feel about it too. And that was to get what the residents feel.
So that was
Just
the input
passing
from
the that was the input from the planning board, you don't have to
Mhm.
follow it, it's simply
And did we
input.
get any response from, for example, conservation?
Conservation, really didn't have any concerns with those lots.
And either of the department heads?
And neither of the, Emmett, it was Emmett and Chris Shadler that I asked about this. And
Okay.
Emmett didn't have any interest in it, and neither did Chris.
Okay.
So then I guess we'll have to decide if you're gonna do a public hearing on the sale, and we can send out notices to the abutters. I'm just very cognizant of the policy we have on Pillsbury Lake.
And what does it say?
That the abutters are offered
Oh,
first
first.
choice,
Okay, that makes sense.
and that if an abutter were to purchase it, it would be merged with their existing property.
So that would be the thing we do first, is talk, we're not gonna have a public hearing before we contact the
And that once
abutters,
again
right?
brings up, do we wanna merge them all ahead of time? Guess we could just merge them all. And then
So,
offer them to all the abutters that are in the area.
so I
There'd be
think,
3, I think.
my feeling is that there's kind of 2 ways to look at it. There's the policy was designed because there's like one-off properties that should just be merged in so that there's a slightly larger property. The policy was never written and designed for, I wanna develop something. This is a lot larger amount of land in Pillsbury Lake than you would normally expect to see in Pillsbury Lake for lot size. As such, there's basically 2 ways to look at it, in my view, and there may be more, but the 2 ways to look at it are, well, we still wanna do the same thing to have a larger lot, so we would do the same neighbor-only bidding process, with that it would have to be merged and not able to be unmerged. Because that's the way it's basically always been for there. The second would be to say, this is an exceptional amount of land that wasn't developed, but was slated to be developed. And as such should be sold as a single plot that can be divided in different manners. And at that point would also be a full-on public open bid, as opposed to neighbors only and abutters only. Because you're not going to get everything with a limitation of, well, only abutters should be able to have it. And I see, personally, I'm in the, if we're going to allow things to happen there, then we should just do the public bidding and get the most we can for the town. Because that is the fiscally responsible way to do it. And we can look at the, like, lot size limitations and things, whether we should merge a couple or not ahead of time, or not. It could be, yeah, there's a couple different ways that could be looked at, but if we're going to say, yeah, it should be eligible for development and doing stuff, then it should just be a flat-out public bid to anyone who wants to do that. And the other option is, of course, do it the same way it's been done everywhere else, which is, it becomes part of your land.
I mean, I agree, this is a little different.
And
you do have, I have to refresh my memory and read the policy again, but I do think you have an option
yeah.
in there to,
Yeah, so there's always been the option to do something else that's not in the policy. We added in that if that was going to be used, that clause was going to be used, that it had to be recorded in public minutes with a roll, maybe it didn't say roll call vote, but with a roll call vote to state this is what and why the exception is being done. So.
And that might be a good subject to include in the public hearing,
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was
you know?
part of.
That was probably their idea.
I think that was part of one of the reasons why Marlo brought it up, is because
Yeah.
then everybody's aware that's why
Right.
we're using the clause, because it's an exceptional situation.
Right.
And to get the general impression of the people that are coming in, are they totally against using the clause? Are they also of the same mind, you know? That way, just to get public feedback, because after all, we're here to serve the community, and we
Right.
should listen to what the community wants.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
So why don't I get you, what the lots are, how big they are?
I mean, if you merge them all together into one lot, it'd
It
be
was
a little
5
over
something.
5 acres, and I think it's about 6 or 7 lots. Though if we open it up to being the ones on the other side of the street as well, there are probably 2 or 3 more lots on the other side.
Were we going to merge them? I mean, were we gonna wait?
when you say
until-
other side of the street, do you
So
mean
if you
other
have
side of the
Amherst
paper
or
street or
Other side of the
actual
paper street,
Okay.
because you can't merge across the paper street either.
Oh,
So you could only, because there's still this,
so that would again be a good reason to, this should just be open to,
well, that was one
The
of my
public, yeah.
considerations, is because
yeah.
if you started selling the individual lots to the abutters, you would be selling one small lot to one abutter, and then you would still have a lot of the paper ones later, so you would have to do multiple bids, like, well, we sold off this one little piece, and then we have this another little
Yeah.
piece, and let's sell the next little piece, and then this one abutter now butts this one, and they can buy the next little piece.
Well, much like I think we did with, I don't wanna use a name, but with one other person that, I believe we put 2 up at once,
Yeah.
but they had to be both merged into the lot.
Right,
So, like, it would be that same similar thing if it's not an open.
but then you get the problem with some people are abutters, some people aren't, some people can abut with some of them, it's just,
Yeah.
we'd have to look at every single lot to determine if they can abut with all the lots that we wanna be merged into it. It's
Yep.
just a matter of,
But, yeah, I think that, like, we definitely have ways to do that, and we definitely need
Right, it would
to,
just
as a
take work.
full board, decide how we
Yeah.
wanna do it, so we can
Okay,
move forward
so I
in one
think
manner
probably
or
then
another.
we should review what there is and not make any merge decisions till after you have a chance to chat about it.
and I've got that already set up on my computer that I can bring in, and I have all of that stuff already done.
If we,
Cause I did it for the planning board.
Excellent.
As much as I'd like to say, hey, let's do it at the sealed meeting minutes, that sounds like it's getting rather loaded, so why don't we suggest that we'll do that in 2 weeks?
Okay.
Okay.
That way we can take care of it and make a decision, and
Well,
then
and I
at that point,
agree.
we'll still have 2 more weeks to
It's better
announce
to
the-
do it in a regular meeting, I think.
Yeah, and that, well, whether it's a regular meeting or a work session, I don't think really matters, because then we would, after deciding kind of how we think it should go, that's when we would announce a public hearing.
Mhm.
And so,
Okay.
which if we decide that in 2 weeks at the normal meeting, then we've got another 2 weeks to put the public hearing up, so.
All right, and I think I'm the next agenda
You
item,
are.
which is the Adobe subscription.
Yes.
So this is a fun one. So I found out while doing my record retention stuff, our Adobe Suite subscription is, or license is of an older version that is unable to save as PDFA. And I need that in order to do the record retention stuff. I need to be able to save as PDFA and edit PDFs and resave them as PDFA. So I reached out to our IT professionals to see if we could get that in our current license. They said they couldn't. They would have to either purchase a new license for $650 or a monthly subscription of $19.99. So my question to the board is, do we want to get the subscription for $19.99 or go with the $650? And since I figured this is part of the record retention, we might be able to use some of the remaining ARPA money just to purchase the license so that we could use it. However, when they talked, I think they said their version they're on is 2020, so I'm wondering how long till that
That's
version's
exactly
gonna
what I was gonna
be
say.
outdated.
Maybe we should do monthly, because they might change it next week.
Correct.
So-
That was my only thought.
That's
on it.
exactly what I'm thinking, because that screwed my computer up at home, too.
And then there was another thing I wanted to talk about it with too.
So, Adobe, how far do I wanna go down this rabbit hole?
Uh-oh.
As a designer, Adobe always used to sell their software. And then they would sell you an update 2-3 years later. But if you didn't need the new stuff, you just kept your software and you kept using it. They, quite a while back, switched to software as a subscription. So you paid monthly or annually, etc., for your license for whichever pieces of software you wanted to use. Those rates have continued to very rapidly go up. And Adobe continues to very rapidly say that they're trying to increase their revenues. So I expect that they would continue to rapidly climb. At $20 a month, 32 months or 2.5-ish years covers the $650 license.
Yep.
In 2.5 years, while there may be a new format of PDF, that might be better.
It doesn't matter. If
Government moves slow.
Correct. PDFA is what is listed in as the law, so that's what we gotta use.
PDF, and government moves slow, so even if they come up with a new version that might be better, it's still gonna take several years before it gets required. So the single purchase license is pretty much guaranteed to more than pay for itself versus a subscription.
Really? Okay, well, I'm not the computer
So-
person, you are.
Especially if we can take that as part of the other funding, and it's definitely a one-time fee instead of monthly, that would make
I
sense
will
as the
double
way to
check
do
with
it.
them, but that's how they gave me the quotes, is you either buy the license or you get the subscription.
And as an aside, that's pretty hilarious too, because Acrobat as a whole used to be $120 and give you all of it.
And then the other part is, I was talking to Phil the other day, and he can't edit PDFs. So I was wondering if we could give one of our licenses, once we get the new one, over to the PD so they can edit PDFs. Because we don't need the we don't need more than two, I don't think. I don't know how Dana feels about that.
As long as I have one, I can.
That's all he cares about. And I have one, then I can do
I
it.
mean, it probably would be helpful if we don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, if we have extra licenses, instead
The
of
only
having to
one who
convert
else
or
could-
upgrade,
The only one else I could see who could use it is Wendy, but it would be more for the record retention stuff, which means you need to be able to save as PDFA. And that one doesn't allow you to save as PDFA.
right.
So that's kind of the problem going forward is we would have to be able to do something like you do with the AggiFund, that whoever's using the license at the time would have to log in to use the license when they need to save stuff and then
Mm-hmm,
move it around like that.
right.
And I can talk to the assessors and see if that can be set up that way, because Dana might need to use it, Wendy might need to use it. We should all be able to.
Basically, I use that to convert a PDF to a Word document.
Yeah.
I need to change it.
It's been a while since I've looked into it, but there's usually, for any of these archival types of formats, there's almost always good open source software around it too. So, not for the manipulating, working with on a daily basis sort of thing that you're likely to do, but if someone just needs to, I need to be able to print to that format, there's probably something out there for that that could get installed in a reasonable manner, as opposed to a $650 manner. I haven't looked at it in a while, I'll try to remember to, but I think we cross that bridge later, because not everybody has to print to this format all the time.
No, well, I'm currently the only
And
person
they,
who has.
they should be able to just send you a document and have that done for
Right.
the specific thing anyway.
And I'm the only one currently using the software, but hopefully more people will be using it in the future. But that's a matter of getting the stuff, and we've got the budget in ARPA to buy stuff, and then if we wanna put more stuff in it, we would have to
Mhm.
do that in the future, decide that, and figure out how to fund it. But that's it. So we're going forward.
Do we need a motion, or is that just gonna be a, like a purchase order for us to sign or something?
Right, it'd be just a purchase order out of ARPA. You agree with that, Dana?
You want, is that where you wanna take it out of and charge it?
Well, you
to
said
the
you
record
had
retention?
3,000 still in, well, it would have to come out of the 3,000, cause the record retention stuff's already spoken for, would be added to that. Unless we wanna pull it from somewhere else.
So that's my question. I would say that we should do it, we should take care of that and do it correctly. But where the funding comes from should be part of the mix that Dana's figuring out
Okay, that makes
with
sense.
how to get the trees taken care of.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
I didn't wanna add more expenses, but I
Because-
did, this
because
was put on there before.
That's the sort of thing where we can certainly take it out of technology, for
Right.
example, if we need to.
That's the other thing.
Mhm.
So, which probably makes sense anyway, because we
Mhm.
have the fund to be able to do that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I would actually say just take it out
I think
of
that's a good
technology.
idea, Dave, myself.
It's simpler and it makes sense, and we're gonna need it anyway, so regardless of
Right.
record retention, archival stuff or not, so.
Right.
Okay. Correspondence beyond the ones brought up
Yeah,
already.
we had the Department of Revenue sent the equalization valuations. This is, really relates to the county and the school.
And what was I saw the inspection report thing.
Oh,
What
yeah,
was the
that's the-
actual, rate that they,
This is, the
Yes.
inspection report is not related to the equalization. That is as part of the reval, the DRA pulls random
right,
properties to go and verify that the assessor's done their job.
so with the equalized valuation, normally they give you a rate that I don't see there.
Right, well, that's the other part of equalized valuation, that's not in this report.
Okay.
These figures are only calculating your state education property tax and, it's also used for the county. Because they have to equalize it so that Webster's at the same rate as
Right.
Bosco and all that. What you're thinking of, we've gotten the rate, it was 99.4 that we got
Okay.
last fall.
Perfect. Which is exactly what you hope to be at.
Oh, it was
after a
great,
reval.
it was great.
It
Although,
better be darn close.
although it's probably, this year could be.
Oh,
who
yeah.
knows,
Could be like
Who knows?
90.
So that's what that is.
But at least we got it when we did it.
Yes, yeah,
So we did it right.
I mean, I think the assessors did a
They do
very
a
good
good
job,
job.
really.
All right. Was there any further?
That was the only two corresponding items.
So, let me scroll back up. Yes, that moves us on to meeting minutes.
Oh, crap.
I would suggest that since we don't have Marlo and she was at that meeting, we just wait for her.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right.
It's fine.
So signing documents and motions for payments.
Okay, well, we have several documents. The first one is from the tax collector, and these are more campers.
Gotta love them.
I don't think Michael is.
I don't know what some of these are because I think she talked to you about them because I wasn't in at that time.
She has, okay, one is for a camper, and the other is two taxpayers who paid their taxes one day after the 3/29 deadline, and she's asking to abate the penalties of $22 and $2 for each additional parcel.
$55.
And they must be, what are they, like $26?
Yes.
The tax collector can abate up to 25, I believe is her limit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so oh my God.
Yeah. And that's usually, I mean, it makes sense, I mean, that's stuff that's, fussy stuff.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't upped that rate though, like to 30 or something, the way things go.
Well, and
Probably haven't changed it in 10 years,
Oh, I'm sure it's been that way for a long time.
forever, yeah, really.
And I don't think she's asking for it to change, I think she should.
Yeah, no, I know, it's just,
Yeah.
you think the state would be doing things.
I know we're trying to be nice, but, and I've signed it because I'm okay with it, because I like being nice. But,
Good deal.
Really?
but why are we abating because someone paid a day late? I mean, they paid a day late.
Well-
Maybe it was in the
No, because
slot.
if it was in the slot, we would have taken it as on time. Which
There's
is why.
something here I think I don't know, so let me ask the tax collector that question,
And, well,
because she usually is not one to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think there must be something I'm just not reading
well,
here.
maybe it is right, because maybe it was in the slot or something.
Yeah,
And the system processed it as a day late, and usually she can.
That would make sense to me, because,
She's very good about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
I don't think she'd wanna give money back if
Oh, she
didn't have
doesn't.
to.
No.
No,
Okay, I
for
can explain
years.
these.
Okay, so you have some things,
These are veterans credits, so as part of the DRA audit, we go through the property files, they pull out random ones. And these are a couple applications that were missing. So we just need the board to re-sign them, and then I'm gonna scan them and put them back in the file. That's, who knows what could have happened, they could have been lost during the scanning, I don't know. But,
oh, I found a piece of paper I was looking for earlier.
Oh,
I was
okay,
gonna say,
so
we
you can
had a lot
sign
of them,
first.
yeah, it was just a couple of them that I found, they found. And there's a couple other things that were missing that I'm working towards replacing. And then we got timber,
Then you have your timber.
oh, just pass it, timber.
And you've got two on each of these, right?
Yeah, just need two signatures, same old as every time.
That's that, and that's this. Just the one, right?
Yep.
So what's all this?
This is
Okay.
timber, and there's two
Two pages.
on each.
Are these all the standard rate ones, or were these submitted rates?
For what?
Oh wait, this
The
belongs
timber.
to something.
The timber was.
Timber, oh, it goes
The
to one of
yield tax
those.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's the
The timber
worksheet.
thing.
So the yield
Sorry
tax
about that.
is based off of what they submitted on their report.
Okay.
This is, what's that one? That's that, well, this one goes with
Well,
that.
if you lose one of them, we still got the other one, I think we're okay. If we lose one of them.
No, the paperclip
You already
just
signed it.
flew out my
Okay, that's that.
This is, both of these were paid out of the general fund. That was the postage
Oh, great.
that we pay online because they take forever to credit you. And then they charge you a late fee.
All we're gonna do is that. Oh, they charge you a late fee?
Oh, yeah.
That's nice of
You
them.
don't, and that's the fees and
Bills.
bills.
So, why do you say general fund?
The general fund is our checking account.
Okay, but it is still coming out of an appropriate line item.
Oh,
It's
yes.
just- It's just
Yes,
the
yes.
way that it's
Yes, yes.
processed, you're saying. Okay.
Right. And on the bill itself, it's charging postage on that one. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Those cards.
That Dana, he just spends up the
I know.
cards.
He loves spending.
Mine's always the highest.
Unitil, right?
Unitil,
Clients.
actually, yeah, this is, most of this is, the Unitil and the telephone. The telephone comes out of credit cards. This is credit card, so it's telephone. Oh, not too confusing.
It's fine. No.
So that's all I had for signatures needed.
Oh, wow.
So now I would like to ask you to go into a non-public session under 91A3, section 2C.
And are we expecting to have one or two non-publics?
There will be two non-publics.
Okay, so everybody, you will expect to not see us again. There will be two non-publics, and then when we come out of non-public, we will immediately close the meeting. So I would move that we enter into non-public.
What time?
8:32 p.m.
8:32. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's go lock some doors.
Lock those doors, lock us in.